Okay, finally, Yuta Okotsu is back in Jujutsu Kaisen. It's been quite a bit since they got separated. Yuji and Megumi jumped into the Culling games, and we ain't see Yuta for a while. I ain't gonna lie, I attribute it to like, yo, dog, Jujutsu Kaisen 0, the movie, is out in theaters right now. How about we give Yuta a break in the manga so that people can experience him on the big screen? And as soon as it's been a little bit that it's been rocking out in theaters or whatnot, then y'all come back and y'all can see him in the manga. We'll bring him back or whatnot. Like, honestly, that just sounds like marketing-wise a genius move. Like, oh man, yo, we haven't seen Yuta in the manga in a minute, but the movie's in theaters. Let me go watch that. At the very least, that's what I'd do, right? And it's not like it's taking away from the character. We got to see some really awesome moments with Megumi. We got Yuji doing things like, yeah. I mean, if anything makes it more impactful, like, Yuta's back, baby. Gojo's second place guy. Basically, the dude that the only person above him is Gojo. Y'all already know Satoru Gojo, the GOAT. Yeah, he's back, and I ain't gonna lie, though, it is kind of weird that he returns, and he's returning to fight some roaches. Like, nani sore wa chotto sui, like, what? I don't know, I just started spitting out some Japanese words. Yeah, hopefully I didn't say nothing crazy. But let's talk about Jujutsu Kaisen, fam. We got chapters 172 to 174. We're gonna get into it.
No matter how you feel, get it done. No matter how you feel, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done.
Okay, people, so where we last left off, Megumi was fighting Reggie. Well, Reggie is down for the count, and yet again, just building up even further that Megumi is a problem. But I will say something regarding that whole battle, because don't get me wrong, Megumi got the W and Reggie died, and Reggie was talking smack towards the end, and it was really wild ultimately. Like, yo, Megumi got a win, but it was kind of crazy, and somebody had to die. Somebody got to die. If I go, you got to go. Okay, let me stop. But I will say that essentially, wasn't Reggie only a sorcerer for like 12 days, if I'm not mistaken? Forgive me if I'm off on that, but if he was only a sorcerer for 12 days, how the blue blazing yo
What? Genius, mother rocket of
did he give this much of a problem to Megumi, and how was he this advanced? I mean, I guess the biggest thing you can attribute to that is, yo, dog, he's been a sorcerer in a life or death situation and managed to survive for 12 days, so you could imagine how much he had to accumulate, how much he had to work overtime, constantly watching his back and all of that jazz, because he's fighting in a life or death situation. So I guess that's something you could attribute to, but then you could counter that with saying that, yo, dog, Reggie has been using people and manipulating people on his behalf to do his bidding, and then kind of luring people and taking them out. So I don't know, it's a little bit weird, I guess you could say. I didn't really think about it, but in retrospect, like, 12 days sorcerer gave Megumi a little bit of a run for his money, and ultimately he was knocked out towards the end of his battle with Reggie, and we got that angel showing up, which I'm going to throw the argument, because maybe some people are feeling like, yo, dog, is the angel about to kill Megumi as he's there knocked out on the ground unconscious? I'm guessing maybe the angel is going to try and save Megumi, or somebody's going to show up right on time to stop the angel from doing something. But I'm going to throw in the bet that maybe the angel is actually good or has some good intentions and is going to do something for Megumi, and ultimately that's how it's going to lead into whatever happens, or it could be setting up for Megumi versus the angel, but at first the angel ain't going to do nothing bad to Megumi. But towards the end of that battle, we got introductions to more big key players, which I'm hoping that these are probably the 4 last big names that we got to conquer in the Culling games. I'm imagining there's probably going to be a little bit more, because we had a lot of setup for new antagonists, new people that we got to fight during the Culling games, I'd imagine. And if you don't feel this way, totally understandable, but this is a standard structure of shonen manga, shonen anime, where, yo, we need this arc to last X amount of time, whether it be from the business side of things. Gege, let's just say, signed a 5-year contract, and they need to make this arc in particular X amount of time because it lines up with the anime. Like, don't forget, there's a lot of people involved in this. It's not just, hey, creator, go nuts. They got the editor, they got everybody involved creating this work, but of course, Gege is at the helm of it all, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is kind of like, well, we need to add a bunch of antagonists to make this go, because if not, I mean, at the end of the day, we got Kenjaku at the helm of it, and then who else? Like, we would all just be running to take out Kenjaku, so you got to kind of add all of these extra elements. So you got Druve, who was a creepy old man, Ichigori Ryu, aka he looks like Josuke from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, maybe mixed with Kuwabara from Yu Yu Hakusho. Udo Takako, who is like a puppet with like cut limbs, that was kind of weird. We got Kuroushi, who is basically a bunch of massive freaking roaches. And yeah, they're like some of the big key players, minus again the angel that was set up, and of course Kenjaku at the helm, and maybe a few others that I'm not thinking of right now. But ultimately they look like they're the big key players, or at the very least majority of them are, because yeah, we get the introduction towards the end of Megumi's fight. Yuta is back in action, and quickly as he's brought back into the manga with also a little bit of a recap. Again, that recap is what really made me feel like, why are you recapping about Yuta and how he had a tragedy years ago and he had the big fight at the festival? That is for people coming from the movie to be like, oh, even if they're not caught up, oh, this is Yuta, oh shit. Really nicely timed, I ain't gonna lie, because it shows Yuta and he's been slaying, and he got 35 points already, and he knocks off quickly one of these big pillars that was just introduced and set up, like, yo, we got some powerhouses here, we got this old dude, oh no, we don't got this old dude. Because Yuta makes quick work of Druve, slaughtering him, and his badassery is here. And I ain't gonna lie, Yuta, he's quickly become one of my favorites, because it's such an interesting situation, I guess you would say, with Yuta. The fact that he was once the main character of this story, and he's back in the story, and it's kind of like, oh, I love him a lot. He's really, really dope. I love what he did in JJK0, and I can't wait for that film, by the way. But I love this character, and he's back. So it's like, even if Yuji don't show up for a while, as long as Yuta's on the screen, I'm Gucci. I ain't gonna lie. It is what it is. It's kind of like, think of Yusuke and Sensui from Yu Yu Hakusho. Essentially, Yuta would be Sensui, minus the fact that Yuta's not batshit freaking crazy with 7 personalities or some shit like that. Like, yeah, he's still technically like the previous main character, and Sensui was never the main character of Yu Yu Hakusho. But you get what I'm saying. He was the first spirit detective. He was the first main character of this story. So, I don't know. And I really rock with him and everything that he has with Rika, which we'll talk about that in a second. Because then with the latest chapter, 2 of the remaining out of the 3 remaining members of the big alliance of, or they're not even an alliance, they're just like the big powerhouses of the Culling game, are a little bit worried about Yuta. They're like, yo dog, they took out this dude quickly, like what's going on here, we gotta keep an eye on him. And then at the same time, Yuta has a big weakness because he just saved a whole group of people from the old man and stuff like that, and he's just taking care of a lot. Like, he has a lot on his plate right now, so he's kind of at a disadvantage. If it was just Yuta by himself, we've seen, like, at the end of the day, he's been said to be only second to Gojo, so yeah, he would be a big problem. But now he got all these distractions, so it's getting a little complicated. And we see now the introduction to the roaches of Kuroushi, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. And yeah, it's still really interesting, and I can't wait till we get a little bit more insight into what happened, because at the end of JJK0, yeah, Yuta and Rika, like, Rika was saved and all of that jazz. Like, Rika should be no more, but we see even in this one where he's like, yo Rika, drop it. Like, what is going on here? Did he just stay with the powers and it kind of listens to him, but it's really not Rika's spirit anymore, it's just the powers? Like, I need a little bit more insight into that, because it's kind of crazy, but still, like, it's really dope at the same time. And while Ryu is still stalking Yuta, we see Kuroushi shows up, and dog looks straight up like a Menos Grande Hollow from Bleach. I ain't gonna lie, like a Menos Grande with a bunch of roaches. So think like, I don't know, friggin' Shino or some shit. And I love too that Yuta, the character that he is, he always has a plan. He's like, okay, boom, I gotta eliminate all of these top players, all of the ones that were basically listed at the end of the last chapter. I gotta, eliminate them before I can establish any linkage between the colonies. So essentially, they won't be able to go and hurt and attack other people. Main character stuff, nothing out of the norm or anything like that. But again, him having a plan and trying to keep with it, it just shows the difference between, like, Yuji is just like, I don't want to say like he's an idiot. Yuji's smart as well.
What if you made me even dumber than I already was?
But Yuta's just a little bit of a different breed. Again, this is why he's second to Gojo. And one of the big things that I really appreciated about this chapter is that Yuta, first of all, he references Shibuya. He's like, he recognizes everybody's, very exhausted after Shibuya, but also he doesn't want to have to force Gojo to have to kill his friend once again, referencing, of course, how he killed Geto in the past and all that jazz. And he says, I'm going to be the one, I'm going to get 400 points, and I'm going to be the sole person to take out Kenjaku. Probably not going to happen like that. Obviously, Yuji needs to, avenge his parents, especially his dad, for the disgustingness of, oh god, Kenjaku, you nasty, nasty bro. Oh, like, dog, you took over a dead body, dog. You took over a dead body and pretended to be somebody's mom. You're a creep motherfucker. And the latest chapter ends with essentially the giant freaking roach having a life or death blade. Kind of reminded me a little bit of the big battle that Yuji just recently had against Higuruma, where Higuruma's ability was kind of like essentially the ability to do all sorts of stuff, including execute, put death in the air. So essentially kind of reminds me of that. But I have no doubt in my mind, Yuta is going to slay this cockroach dude. I mean, he just knocked out old dude in a quick second and caught some points there. So yeah, I'm expecting a slaughter massacre of Yuta, but it seems as though Gege is going down this route of, okay, we're gonna have a couple chapters of Megumi fighting this one, we're gonna have Yuji a couple chapters, so the Roach probably will give him a little bit of problems, or maybe some of the other ones, like that dude Ryu that is stalking him, is going to jump in the 9th hour and give him a problem as well. But I think Yuta got it covered though. Like, they're not about to embarrass Yuta after him just coming from this big giant movie that is taking over Japan right now. But yeah, people, Yuta back, and ultimately he's not gonna make Gojo go down that same route if we ever get Gojo back. I'm just saying, like, Gojo return unsealed when? But I'm curious what you guys think about all this. For starters, Yuta being back. Do you think him being not involved in the manga as of recently had to do with the fact that the movie is out and they were like, yo, dog, it'd be more stronger marketing to make people want to go see the movie because he's not in the manga for the time being? And your thoughts on just where things are going right now. How do you feel about all of these newer villains in the Culling game being introduced? I mean, granted, there's, you know, this is a big life or death situation, so there's going to be some people that go rogue, but ultimately, how do you feel about them considering, like, Yuta just slaughtered that old dude and Megumi was, well, struggling against a dude that was a sorcerer for 12 days with Reggie? And your overall thoughts and expectations for Jujutsu Kaisen with chapter 175 and beyond. Yuta back, baby. Let's do this. That's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day. Peace and Yuta. Let's go. Oh, by the way, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell, baby. Let's do it. Join Forever Gang. We're not a gang, dog. We just talk news and anime and manga. Have an awesome one.
So just go to find me.